Welcome back, everybody. This week, I am joined by Kevin Morrison, who is the owner of Fish and Beer and Tacos, Tequila, and Whiskey in Denver, Colorado. Kevin and I take a deep dive into how he's managing prime costs and all the little things that he's doing in his business and how he's empowering his staff to think like an investor, which is just a really awesome approach to running business and proven to be really, really successful. We also take a little bit of a deep dive into how Kevin and his team are preparing for all the uncertainty in the economy around tariffs and some of the ways that they are getting really, really creative and putting some backup plans in place to be really proactive and also reactive whenever they need to. So ton of value in this conversation. Kevin's just a total badass, total stud, and there's a lot of great tips out of this conversation. Welcome to the Restaurant Leadership Podcast, the show where restaurant leaders learn tools, tactics, and habits from the world's greatest operators. I'm your host, Kristen Marvin, with Solutions by Kristen. I've spent the last 2 decades in the restaurant industry and now partner with restaurant owners to develop their leaders and scale their businesses through powerful one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and leadership workshops. This show is complete with episodes around coaching, leadership development, and interviews with powerful industry leaders. You can now engage with me on the show and share topics you'd like to hear about, leadership lessons you want to learn, and any feedback you have. Simply click the link at the top of the show notes and I will give you a shout out on a future episode. Thanks so much for listening, and I look forward to connecting. Running an independent restaurant is no joke. You're doing it all. Managing your team, maintaining quality, keeping things safe, and the back of the house can sometimes feel like organized chaos. That's where restaurant technology steps in. They've created a system called Total Oil Management that helps take one big job off your plate, managing cooking oil. No more lugging jugs of oil or dealing with dangerous spills. Their system does 4 things for you. Delivers fresh oil automatically, removes used oil safely, no mess, no stress, helps your team stay safe and your food consistent, and even turns your used oil into biofuel, which is pretty cool. Thousands of independents across the country are already using it to cut costs, save time, and make their kitchens run smoother. If you're curious about this and want to learn more about how it could work in your space, visit go.rti-inc.com/restaurant leadership podcast. Again, that's go.rti-inc.com/restaurant leadership podcast. Kevin, thank you so much for being here. Super excited to give the listeners today a little bit of insight into your world and your amazing concepts that I've been a huge fan of for many years.
Thanks for having me.
But also excited to share some of the challenges that you're facing in the Denver market. That we all know is very challenging, incredibly expensive, and some incredible learnings. Give us a little bit of insight about how long you've been in the business. A little bit of backstory here.
Oh my God, my
Give us the abbreviated version, and then we'll jump
back to the 80s.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you my Colorado. So I moved out here from Chicago, 94, spent a year in Aspen, loved it. I'm like, I'm going to go buy a place and settle down. And then I saw the real estate prices. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I ended up in Boulder for a year and then been in Denver ever since.
Nice.
Started, where was I? I was sous chef at a Barolo Grill, which is still there. Mm-hmm. High-end Italian. Got to do the Italy trip with those guys one year, which was amazing. Nice. And then from there, I went on to open a sandwich shop called Spicy Pickle Sub Shop. A buddy of mine, we ran it for maybe 5 years, and we were spoiled with the hours we were working, and we had 3 locations and making good money, and got a wild idea to franchise. I usually don't use the F word. But
it is the F word.
it is the F word, man. Oh my God, was it an eye-opening experience? And I talked to my brother about it, and he was in finance. He was a CFO of a large company here in Colorado. And he's like, "Do you really want to do that?" And I'm like, "They're talking about stock like $3-4 a share. I'm going to own 12 million shares. Life's going to be good." I ended up selling like 10 million shares for like a half a penny when I got fired from a company that I started because we went public.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was quite the experience. I don't regret it. It was fun because, like I mentioned, I have a high school diploma. These diplomas are fake back here.
Don't give it away, Kevin. Don't give it away. Just fake it. How long did it take you to go public?
I think the process from start to finish was maybe a little bit over a year with all the paperwork and everything.
Wow.
We had brought on a guy. It was my partner and I running it, and we were your typical restaurant guys. I mean, he was in his 20s, I was in my 30s. Life was good, and then had this opportunity to franchise. So we brought on a CEO, we brought on a CFO, we raised funds, raised a bunch load of money.
Yeah, you can cuss. It's okay.
Okay, yeah, raised just a shitload of money, and it was just unreal how the burn. Like, had to register in every state we were in, and it was a great learning experience. I wouldn't bootstrap it. You know, it's back in the day when we opened, you could bootstrap a restaurant and get by.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do now, and then franchising is a whole nother world.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we should do another episode about that alone.
Yeah,
that's great. I love it. If you are feeling the pressure of rising costs and staffing shortages or supply chain chaos, you are not alone. The truth is, the economic forecast may be shifting, but your restaurant still needs to keep moving forward. That's why I'm headed to the 2025 National Restaurant Association show, happening May 17th through the 20th in Chicago. This show is built for operators like you, offering real solutions for real challenges, from cost-saving equipment to strategies for navigating today's tough labor market. Plus, you'll get access to cutting-edge technology, menu innovation, and expert-led sessions that'll help you stay resilient no matter what the market throws your way. And I'll be there, and I'd love to see you too. Here's a bonus for you too. Use my promo code Kristen25 at checkout and get $25 off your Expo Show badge. All you have to do is go to nationalrestaurantshow.com to register and grab your ticket. Don't wait though, because this offer expires May 9th. The 2025 show is where the future of food service comes to life. Don't miss it, and I hope to see you there. Okay, so what happened after Spicy Pickle?
What did happen? So I pitched the idea. I'm like, hey, I went to our CEO. I'm like, hey, man, we should get a food truck, and we won't do sandwiches. We'll come up with another concept. And he's like, a Coach Roach? I'm like, no, man, they're getting real popular now. So we had kind of butted heads, and I got terminated on Christmas, like December 23rd. I was in Canada with my in-laws, and he asked me to fly back. So I flew back on December 23rd, got terminated. I'm like, thanks, man. So then I opened the taco truck. The first one, it was called Pinche Tacos, just slang, for the effort. It was, I like to call it dumb luck, because it was perfect timing for food trucks in Denver and tacos around the country. Yeah. So we hit at the right time. They were just very simple, authentic ingredients, authentic cooking styles, but with a gringo twist.
Nice.
And it just took off. Honestly, it was nothing I had planned. There was a very small business plan, but I rented the first location off Colfax in New York because I could afford the rent if it went under.
Yeah.
And that's how we did the first Spicy Pickle. We rented the cheapest place we could find, because if it went under, we both could afford the rent.
Did you know you wanted to go from food truck to brick and mortar?
That's a good question. I don't think I ever thought about it. It just happened. Which I think I'm a really lucky guy, because a lot of things just happen, and I notice things that just happen I do better at than when I plan things out. Like, we planned the Phoenix location for years, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
and the money we put into that place. But when we just opened it, it just kind of like I went more with my gut.
So how did you find the Highlands location? Did you plan for that one, the second PJ,
The
or
second
did
one.
you?
So the Highlands location, no, the landlord called me up and he's like, "Hey man, I just read an article about you. I think it was in the Westward or something."
Mm-hmm.
And we were at my niece's high school graduation dinner at Sullivan's Steakhouse downtown, which used to be there, my favorite steakhouse.
Yep.
And he's like, "I got a spot for you." He's like, "Quiznos just backed out." And I'm like, "Wow, I don't know if I want to go in a spot where Quiznos was going in. Not there's anything wrong with Quiznos, but they tend to be more of the corporate area."
Yeah.
So I went and looked at it and I just fell in love with it. And I had the A team at the original location. I mean, every shift was the A team. And I'm like, I'm smart enough to realize, I'm like, I better utilize these folks or they're going to leave.
Yeah.
So open the second one. And it was a great learning experience because it's so hard to duplicate things. And I'm a big fan of Pink's tacos or Pink's hot dogs in LA.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they've had so many opportunities to expand and they didn't want to because they're like, you can't duplicate this. And it's true.
Interesting.
So I enjoyed it. Looking back, I'm not sure I would have done it again.
Why not?
I love mom and pop places. To me, they lose kind of the mystique when you start to become a small chain. I mean, we had 4 of them at one time.
Yeah.
And to me, they just lose something. But that's just me.
Yeah. How did Fish and Beer come to be?
Fish and Beer, I was getting bored and I needed a new project. And I'm like, I want to do a seafood joint like I grew up. I grew up in the Midwest, so it was fish fries every Friday, especially during Lent, like no meat, fish fries.
Yeah, same.
My parents, when they retired, they would go down the Gulf Coast of Florida every winter and go to those seafood shacks down there. And everything was fried and I just loved it. And that's how that came about. And our first menu, from where we are with the first menu to where we are today, I mean, it's 180 degrees. It's totally different.
Yeah. What have been the main changes?
We have more than 4 entrees on the menu now. The food is way more approachable. I had a great chef partner at the time, and her food was a little bit more high end than my comfort zone, but I just let her go with it.
Yeah.
And it really, I don't think, fit the neighborhood. She left, and then I jumped back in the kitchen and just started making some changes and doing what felt right to me. And it's evolved into where we are today. I got an amazing chef there now, and they do an awesome job.
So you've got the location in Rhino, right?
Location in Rhino, and then the other Tacos Tequila Whiskey, 32nd and Irving in Denver, and then an airport deal.
What made you decide to go into the airport? Did you get a call? You got another call?
It was like my 5th call, and honestly, I said no because we had just got rejected the month before.
Yeah.
And I was literally heartbroken over that. I was like, God, it wasn't meant to be. And the local company, Skyport, who are my partners now, their COO called me and she's like, "We want to pitch you." And I said, I just can't do it. And I said, "I just lost this bid. I really wanted this bid. I loved it. Loved the people that we would have been partners with. Loved the concourse." She goes, "Can I call you in 2 weeks?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So in 2 weeks, she called me. I'm like, "All right, let's do it." So it was during COVID. We had to do the pitch. We had a video or film it, videotape, whatever the kids do now. We had to do that. So it was us, Elways, and Pete's Coffee.
Okay.
And God, from start to finish, probably a 3-year process.
It's a long process for sure.
Long.
I went through it back in 2007. We lost our bid down.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's a long process. It was wild.
Long process.
Yeah.
And then she called me and she's like, "Congratulations." And I'm like, "On what?" She's like, "We got chosen." I'm like,
Nice.
"For what?" And then it dawned on me. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? We're going to have a restaurant at the airport?"
Yeah.
And it was so cool.
Yeah. How's it been performing?
It's good. We started out, it was doing okay, but super happy with the team out there. The food is amazing. They do a great job. And then probably we've been open, oh my God, what's the date? It's almost 17. A year.
Okay.
I think I think the 24th.
Nice. Congrats.
I'm horrible with dates, but it's almost the year.
Awesome.
In the last 5 months, man, sales have been very good. Everybody's happy. And it's great because it's a licensed deal. You know, they call me once in a while. They are such Skyport. I can't speak highly enough about those guys. Yeah. They're like, hey man, we want to change the kosher salt. We can't get this from our vendor, but we want to get your approval. I'm like, yeah, sure. Thanks, by the way.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, they really respect the brand and what's going on and what we do.
Are you done opening restaurants?
For now.
Okay.
I want to say something better.
If anybody's listening, give Kevin a call because he might be.
No, I mean, I love restaurant business. I love everything that leads up to opening day. And then I like to pop in for opening day and shake some hands and have a couple drinks and then leave. And then if I'm never seen again, I'm cool with that. The stress of day to day, I don't get that rush anymore.
What is it about the opening process that draws you in so much?
Oh, I love it. I love the creative aspect of it. I love like sitting down, and I wish hopefully someone's listening and they're like, hey man, and I don't need a lot of money. It's like, hey, we'll give you whatever and you design this concept and you get it open. I would love that. I love the creative process. I love like, all right, whatever it is. Like, hey man, you want to do a Indian Mexican taqueria? Like I love doing the research. I love doing the R&D. I love doing the design, the flow of the restaurant, the construction process, picking out plateware, everything, the equipment. I love all that. And then it's like, after opening day, it's like, all right, we got to do opening procedures. Hey, why didn't this cooler get checked? Why didn't this get wrapped? Why didn't this get condensed? That stuff drives me crazy.
Yeah. I love it.
But I still love the industry. And that's why I'm trying to move into coaching. So it's like, all right, I have 40 years experience. When I write everything down on paper, I'm like, I sound like I should know what I'm doing. It looks good in black and white.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing now. I still have the 2 restaurants. I have an amazing director of operations and just spending more time in Canada with the kids. But will I ever open a restaurant? I would like to, because there's a couple concepts I have to get out of my system.
Okay.
But I don't want to be the financial guy. I'd rather be own 1%, and I'm fine with that.
Okay. Love it.
But love the industry.
Let's talk about Denver and the challenges and what's going on in the market. What has been the biggest challenge for you?
Denver's tough. Homeless is tough. The minimum wage is tough. Saturation. The market's saturated. A lot of younger people are moving out of Denver because they can't afford to buy.
Yeah. That's why we left.
Yeah, it's a tough market. The city's going through some. I don't want to call it growing pains because we've been this size for a while.
Yeah.
The new administration's having some struggles, and I think they're going to work through it. It is frustrating to be on this end because it's really hurting retail. Yeah. It's hurting small business owners, not just restaurants, but any kind of small business owners. But I think hopefully the administration will come around and be like, okay, we got to definitely make some changes.
Hey there, podcast friends. I hope you're enjoying these impactful conversations and leadership insights I'm bringing you each week. Before we dive back into today's episode, I want to take a moment and reach out and ask a small favor that would go a long way in supporting the show. If you've been loving the content I'm providing, please take a moment to leave a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Not only does it make my day, but it also plays a pivotal role in helping the show grow. Your reviews boost my visibility, attract new listeners, and encourage exciting guests to join me on the mic. So if you want to be part of my show's growth journey, hit that review button, and let me know what you think. Thanks a million for being awesome listeners. So let's talk about these points individually, the homeless aspect or unhoused. I'm not sure what the verbiage is these days. Saturation. I was part of the scene in 2007 when everything just started to explode and every local restaurateur started popping up with multiple concepts and the neighborhoods around the city started exploding, and it just hasn't stopped. Every time I come back every few months, I have a new laundry list of places. It's insane. But let's talk about these individually. Minimum wage, saturation of concepts and competition, and then homeless. How do you handle the homeless situation? How does that impact your business?
You really can't handle them. I've called the police numerous times. The police are in a tough spot. They get a bad rap, in my opinion. They're in a tough spot. The person that should be getting calls is the DA, because the DA doesn't want to prosecute. And as long as they're not doing anything illegal, the police can't do anything. I mean, we've seen them smoking crack right on our patio with guests 3 tables away. Yeah. And it's like, unless the police see it, they can't do anything about it.
I know there's this, as a restaurateur, this desire to protect the experience and the environment. But from a guest perspective, are guests empathetic to homeless people? Are they complaining? And do they look at you and the team and say, why aren't you doing something about this?
Yeah. You get both. Most of the homeless people, like when we were at Colfax in New York, or people know Colfax. If you don't know Colfax, it's a very funky strip. It's been funky forever. Yeah. A lot of homeless. We try to, first of all, we try to treat them with empathy. I feel bad, whatever. I've went out a few times, had conversations. The majority of the homeless that I've come in contact with and approach are kind. They're polite. They have some issues. They have some drug problems. They have some mental problems. They don't have the resources. Yeah. So that sucks right there. That tugs at my heart, because I've been through several mental breakdowns and depression and anxiety where I couldn't function. So I'm very empathetic. However, when it starts to affect my business and my livelihood and people I work with and our money, it's a tough spot. Yeah. So most guests are empathetic, but sometimes they stay away.
We dealt with that a lot being in 5 Points. 5 Points is always been
sure,
right on that corner of Park Ave and Larimer. And we would have, we had a patio, and we would have the same people come up and eat off guest plates, take their sandwich right off their plate, take the cash tips or cash right off the table. Yeah. And we had to train the staff to just be uber aware. And same thing. We cared about the community. We were trying to do better, trying to make an impact. And we would, everybody just had to be on watch and have conversations of like, I'm sorry, you can't be here today. You got to move along. It was challenging. For sure.
Yeah. It changes your training program for sure. You have to add that factor in it.
It does. So how are you combating saturation? What are you doing about that?
Not opening more joints.
Okay.
I just tell the crew, when I had Spicy Pickle, at the time, the first, I don't know how many years, 5-6 years, we used only Boar's Head. And I'll never forget, but the local distributor came in, and I was all stressed out because there was a new sandwich shop opening like across town, and he's like, just focus on doing what you do and let everything else play out. And man, that just stuck with me. Mm-hmm. So I tell my management team and I talk to the crew. It's like, listen, guys, just do what you do best. Yeah. We have no say in who's going to open across the street. We've had taquerias open incredibly close to us, and I was like, it's kind of a bad move, like it's just, there's got to be some ethics and morals in there, but it is what it is, Yeah. And we just do what we do. And a lot of it, I just look as like, hey man, we can only do so much. We can only give if we give great service, we can only give so much great service. If we make great tacos, we can only make so great tacos. We have to give the guests the reason to come back, and hopefully they'll bring someone. If we do everything we can, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
And that's all you can do. I mean, there's nothing you can, how do you deal with saturation? I mean, you just have to step up your game and make sure you're dialing in every shift.
Yeah. Keep your market share and keep it growing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about minimum wage.
Do we have to?
I know it's such a tired conversation, but what are you doing to combat minimum wage? I mean, how is that impacting your P&L, and
Honestly,
how is it helping you think
minimum
differently?
wage, we've always paid well above it with the kitchen guys. Always. Like, I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago. I was the first Pinche Tacos back in the day. I remember I was working like doubles every day, and I needed someone to close. So I was stressing out overpaying our shift supervisor $14 an hour. And she had the keys. She had the combination to the safe. She handled all the cash. She did tip outs. She did all the paperwork. And I'm like, man, I don't know if we can afford it.
And you got to sleep at night.
And I got to get off a little bit earlier. And I just looked. I'm like, $14 an hour. The minimum wage that really hurts are the front of the house, the tip minimum wage.
Yeah.
You know, we're at what is it? 1882, I think.
And going up $1, right?
What's that?
Is it going to go up $1 every year?
I think next year it's going to stay the same. I thought I looked at that.
Okay.
But their tip minimum wage is $302 less. So, you know, when they're making $15.69, $15.79, and they used to be making $7, that's where the that's where the pain comes in.
Yeah.
So, and we use the tip model for TTW at Fish and Beer. Everybody makes a minimum of regular minimum wage because how we do our tips. And our kitchen guys make more than that. But it has definitely hit the P&L. I think what you're going to see is a lot of places are going to entertain going to fast casual. We built out a program, or I forget what you call it, but we built a model. We modeled what our taqueria would look like if it was just fast casual. And we decided at that time not to do it. Okay. I'm not saying it's off the table forever, but at that time we just didn't want to do it.
What was the deciding factor there? Was it experience, or did the numbers not make sense, or?
The savings weren't large enough to excite me. And I'm a big fan of service. And I know just from when we opened the Hot Second Rolling Pin Pizza was open, we had a fast casual model there and we still nailed the service. But we've been in business, 14 years now as the taqueria there. I'm a little nervous, to be honest, about taking that away because I think we'll lose some guests. And it's one of those things like, how much do you lose in sales versus how much do you gain in less labor?
Yeah, especially I feel like when you're in a neighborhood, like you're a neighborhood joint like you are, there's such a community presence and people love to gather and drink and eat. And just gather there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about costs. I mean, what are you controlling differently in your P&L in order to offset labor?
I made everybody get tattoos that say prime cost on their arm.
You did not.
No, but I just thought about that. I'm like, a lot of our staff have tats, and I'm like, all right, I'll pay for it. I wear a few different hats. I'm a small business guy. I wear a few different hats.
Yeah.
But when I look at everything now, and that is part of my philosophy when I'm coaching, is like, look at everything as an investor. Take out the emotions. Take out, oh, I love this person. Take out, oh, but guests love this. Oh, but the chef loves this dish. Take all that out and look at it as numbers. Kevin,
how do you do that? It's so, in my experience, being in the independent space, it's so difficult. It's so much easier said than done. How do you make that shift to more data-driven decisions and take that emotion out of it?
I turned 60 recently, and my whole philosophy is I just don't give up.
Yeah.
a light bulb went off, to be honest with you. It's like, holy shit. Like, now that I'm still in the industry and heavily deep in the industry, but now that I put on this coaching hat, it's like once opening day comes, the only thing that matters are profits. Like, I love your farm to table, man. I love your culture. I love this, but you can't do any of that unless you make money. And if you're willing to go down with the ship over your ethos or whatever you want to call it, it's like, man, that is not a good business decision. So it sounds very cold and very business-like, but we are in a business and my job is to make money. I had investors. I still have investors. They're early on, they got paid off, but I have a responsibility to them to pay them back. Look, they got paid back. They're happy. They're fine. But now to go out and raise however much it costs to open a restaurant and the build out cost, like, the investors don't care about your farm to table and all this stuff unless they're making money.
Yeah.
Or at least not losing money.
Yeah.
So I flipped the switch and was like, hey guys, I'm sorry. And we started small. It was like, all right, we looked at the schedule. Everybody's coming in 15 minutes later.
Yep.
And that moved the needle a little bit.
Yeah.
And then once you get buy-in from the staff, then they start getting creative with ideas. And, hey, we can use these leftovers, or why are we ordering so much? And, we have a lot of systems. I'm very pleased with the systems we have in place. And I'm always looking for new systems, but we really try to pinch pennies and squeeze all that lemon out of that juice, or all the juice out of the lemon. And then it's like, all right, now what can we do with the lemon waste? How can we use that to make money?
Yeah. Love it.
So it's just I look at things now as an investor.
Yeah.
And it's helped dramatically. Before, I looked at it as a chef owner. For years, I looked at it as a chef. And then you could back in the day. And then I went to chef owner, and it's like, all right. And then now it's strictly investor.
How are you passing that on to your staff, that mindset?
Through my director of operations. He's the people person.
Okay.
He and I talk a lot, and he's a fellow Midwest guy, and I love his work ethic, and he gets it. He's a smart dude. He went to school out there. He went to ASU.
Yeah. Oh, ASU. Cool.
U of A. He went to U of A.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Business guy. And he gets it. And our staff is amazing. Like, I'm sure everybody says that, but man, they're willing to look at things differently. They're open. They don't have egos. They're not cocky. When the wheels fall off, they admit it and they learn from it. And it's fun.
Yeah. Unlock the skills to transform your leadership with the Hospitality Leaders Roadmap. Move from ordinary to extraordinary, packed with practical strategies to lead with confidence and create lasting impact in your restaurant. Visit KristenMarvin.com/audio to download your free audiobook today. So what's made the biggest impact in terms of prime cost? Is it all these little bitty things that you've been doing and the staff's been doing? Or
mainly we always did pretty well with our food. I was always pleased with our food cost and our liquor cost. We tightened up some of our ordering procedures for food. We tightened up the waste. We tightened up prep. I mean, we broke it down. Kitchen staff wasn't happy about this, but they came around. We literally timed every dish that it took to prep. And then we took that and we looked at our product mix and say, okay, this dish takes our longest to prep. And it's not a big mover. So we considered it a dog, which I don't know why they call it dogs. I love dogs.
Know either.
Dogs are my favorite animal.
Yeah.
So, all right, it's a dog. We either have to tweak it or get it off the menu. And we started looking at dollar profit on every single dish. And some dishes, I'll be honest, we had to raise the price on, not much. but we didn't have a price change in, over 2 years at either restaurant.
Wow.
We should have been doing price increases more often.
Yeah. How often would you do them?
Oh my gosh. Some people say every quarter. I've heard people say every month. I'd probably do once a year. Yeah. Like moving forward, we'll probably adjust things once a year.
Did you do all of that menu costing by hand?
No, we use our 365,
okay,
which is a beast. A lot of people that I'm speaking with lately, they use Margin Edge.
Yeah.
And I've just heard great things about it. Mm-hmm. We looked at it, and my director of ops, Brian, said, if you do it, I'm leaving, because he would be the one doing everything. I just sign the contract and send the check, and he does it all. And he's like, it is so much input up front.
Yeah.
So, but once you get that in, man, it's a sweet system. Our 365 is massive. There is so much there. Brian literally spends 1 day a week learning more and we've had it for 8, 9, 10 years.
Wow. Are you using everything that it offers?
No, my God, no, not even, no. We're using a hell of a lot more now than we were 2 years ago, though. Mm-hmm. I mean, Brian and I think the same. So we can only take in so much data, so we pick and choose, but it is a beast. It's a great system for just having 2 restaurants. Honestly, I don't think the 2 restaurateur needs it.
Yeah.
But at this time we were growing, we had 5 restaurants. We were looking to I wanted to double in size in the next few years. Mm-hmm. And so it was a great system. But from what I hear, Margin Edge is really easy to work with. And, you got some upfront admin time to enter everything. Yeah. But once it's done, it's a really good system.
Well, we were talking about that last week, right? That is the hurdle when restaurants switch, is who's going to do all this data entry and make sure it's correct. And the demo I just did with Margin Edge looks killer. I love their recipe costing aspect. I don't know if our 365 has this because I'm not super familiar with it, but I love that you can cost the menu out per item and look and go, okay, this menu is costing us, it's at 22%. And then every time you enter an invoice in, it'll automatically update that cost.
That's what's cool, is you get real time. Like I'm old school. So I still, to this day, I do everything by hand. And then our chef at Fish and Beer, Juan, he's a computer guy. So he has his own Excel sheet, and then he's learning our 365. Yeah. So he likes the computer version. And even when I do it by hand, we're off just by a couple pennies.
Nice.
So we teach 2 ways. We teach old school. We teach my way. Yeah. And we even say you'll learn Kevin's way first, and then you'll learn Brian's way. And Brian is, he's the IT guy. He's our marketing guy. He's everything.
Yeah. How much time are you and the team dedicating to that?
To
costing, to the continuous learning?
Now everything on the menu, food and beverage, everything is 100% costed out, and it lives in our 365. Mm-hmm. So obviously, when we have a new dish on the menu, our chef or kitchen manager, whatever place it's at, they're responsible for doing that. But then we're always revisiting. We have our kitchen manager. She wants to move up, so she's starting. She monitors the invoices daily.
Yeah.
And she has to identify trends. Or I should say price changes. Mm-hmm. So when something goes up, let's just say at the seafood joint, when our cod goes up, then she'll sit down with myself or our chef or director of ops, and she'll do the new costing out by hand. So she can see, oh man, this went up $1, and this is how it's going to affect our menu. Mm-hmm. So we're constantly teaching that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What other big challenges are you facing right now?
We're good with labor. We're fully staffed. But it takes, we're interviewing for a new management position now, and it's still amazing that the no-shows you get.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge.
Yeah.
But the biggest challenge is the uncertainty of the economy. Mm-hmm. how are the tariffs going to hit us? What, do we buy in bulk? We reached out to our main liquor distributors are in DC. We're big with them. Mm-hmm. And they're sitting on a lot. They brought in a lot of product. But it's like, okay, if we get hit with these tariffs, what is that going to look like? And it was like when COVID first hit, man, we were all on, we had a huge layoff on like day 3 of COVID. Mm-hmm. And then myself, our admin person, our director of ops, our HR person, and we had an accountant at that time. Every day at 1:00, we got on a call. Yeah. What's the update? What's the update? Mm-hmm. And it was the same when the tariffs were being threatened. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And we're doing all these models about, okay, if this, and we're looking at, okay, can we come out with a tariff-free menu? Like, what items can we get that aren't being hit by
That's
tariff?
Interesting.
And it's like, well, avocados, no. Tequila, no. Mezcal, no.
No, yeah.
Whiskey. All right, we're tacos, tequila, whiskey. Push the whiskey, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And then hopefully they won't know that they're $4 tacos now $8.
Yeah. Oof.
And then we just like, you know what? We're just going to ride it out. We can't sit here and constantly do different models.
Yeah.
We'll react very fast. That's one advantage we have of being small is we can react. We print menus in-house for fish and beer. So we can literally change the menu before every shift if we have to. So that's the uncertainty of the economy is nerve-wracking.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you've got a good game plan, though. You've got backup plans in place. You're getting everybody thinking strategically. Yeah.
And, our chefs, our managers, our bar managers, our GMs, they're really good. They have a great relationship with our vendors. And it's like, listen, we know you guys don't control it, but when you get word, let us know. And if we have to take something off the menu, I mean, a couple of years ago, beef prices were so high. And at that time, our number one taco was asada. And we took it off the menu for the summer just because it's like guests complain, but it's like, you want to pay $8 for a taco?
Yeah.
Like you don't. You say you do, but you don't.
Yeah.
And then if you do, then you'll go on one of these Instagrams or whatever and rip us because we're charging $8 for a taco.
Yeah. What are you going to do if guest spend declines or guest traffic declines?
We'll adapt. We're seeing the per person average, the spend, that's down from last year. Luckily, at Fish and Beer, our foot traffic is up, which is good. Our numbers are up there. TTW, it's about even. If everything declines, we just have to go with it. We have to change our model. So that might be, we're shrinking our menu at TTW a little bit. It's a big menu. So we did a menu engineering and looked at everything. So that'll be shrunk down. We'll probably, if we have to cut staff, we'll cut staff. And then that's when that model of fast casual for TTW might come in. If we're really forced to do it.
Kevin, how do you preserve your energy and passion for being as it just sounds like you're constantly evolving and your team is too. How do you protect that energy?
Well, I have ADHD, so that helps. My Lavazza coffee helps.
Okay.
And honestly, I just love it. I love business and specifically the restaurant business. I love it. I've always loved it. I graduated high school in 83. I wanted to go to chef school. My parents were like, chef school? No. I'll never forget. This is a short story, I promise. In 1983, I'm a senior in high school. I want to go to chef school. My brother and sister went to Indiana University. I was expected to go there. I wanted to be a chef. My dad, somehow he knew this chef at this restaurant. And he's like, all right, I'm going to go talk to him. So I go talk to him. I came home. I'm like, yep, I'm going to chef school. He's like, didn't he tell you how many hours he worked? I'm like, yeah, he works 60 hours a week. I'm like, Dad, he's making $25,000 a year. And he goes, but he's working 60 hours a week. I go, yeah, Dad, you don't get it. He's making 25 grand.
Dad's plan backfired.
Oh, and I loved it. I just, I tried to get out a few times. I'll be honest. I was at the point, it's like, F this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I got to go back. I love it too much. And, there's different, I used to love being on the line in the rush and blah, blah, blah. I can't keep up with the crew anymore.
Yeah.
I just can't. And I get in their way. And so I kind of back off, and there's some days I'll go in and I'll prep or play around with a new dish. And man, the kitchen, it's like I get home that night, my knees hurt, my feet hurt, my toenails hurt, my fingernails hurt. So I'm like, all right, I'll do more of an office job. But I like the creative aspect of it, and that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. Well, good for you for recognizing that you're getting in the team's way. I think there's a lot of owners that don't think
it's
that
funny
way.
Because the kitchen crew at Fish and Beer, they call me Tornado. And I'm like, hey, that's a nice compliment because I go real fast and stuff. And they're like, no, because you're a disaster when you walk.
The place.
I worked fry station one night, and it's the messiest station because you're dipping the fish in the flour and then the batter, and my station was trashed, and they're just laughing at me. And at the end of the night, they're like, "You're okay, Hefe," and I'm like, "Thank you." And then someone said tornado. I'm like, why tornado? And he told me, I'm like, oh, dude, that's not nice. But I realize what I'm good at, and I realize what I'm not good at anymore. And what I'm good at is very little. So I just try to focus on that and have a big impact.
I love it. It's what's do as I say, not as I do, right?
Pretty much.
I love it. Well, Kevin, thank you so much. This has just been awesome. It's so great. I'm so glad that we've been able to connect and be a part of this next step of your journey together in the coaching world. And just love hearing more about your insights, and your passion just comes through every time we're on a phone call or texting or whatever. I feel it. So
I'll be cussing in a few hours, I'm sure, and be like, what the F am I doing here? But at the end of the night, I love it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Well, yeah, and when you're so connected to your purpose and your passion, it makes those tough days seem not as tough, right?
And it's really cool to see like I call it the next generation of 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
It's cool to see them like put their spin on things.
Yeah.
And take what I say, and it's like, all right, can I do this? Try this, and it's like, hey man, as long as we come up with the end result the same, however you get there, that's on you.
Yeah, I love it.
So it's cool. I like it.
Good for you for empowering your team. That's absolutely incredible. And being able to take a step back the way that you have and just let your team shine and lead, especially having multiple concepts. I know that's easier said than done.
It took a while.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you again for your time. Thanks for all the value that you've shared. And I know we're going to chat tomorrow about on our coaching about some fears around recession and some things to do. So looking forward to that conversation.
I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right, my friend, I'll talk to you very soon.
All right. Thank you, dear.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.